All right, guys, this is an example for, I believe it's 8-1 in the book. You guys have 3 or 4 problems from this section for the week, not too many. One is the distance between 2 points and the midpoint between 2 points. So I chose, these look a little nasty, little messed up types of numbers, but 2 of your problems, one of them deals with fractions and then one of them deals with roots. So I figured we'd just do both of those to kind of get you guys set up. So if we're talking about the midpoint, if we graph these things and we go 1 over 1, and remember this is an x and a y, and this is, and I'll do different colors for you guys, and this is an x and a y, and we've got an x and a y. We need to just plot these, and so I go over 1/2 and I go up to 2 and times it by √3. It's probably going to put it approximately right here. Doesn't have to be perfect. And this one, we got to go over to 2/3, which is going to be right about here. And we got to go down to -4, which is down here. And then √2, it's probably going to be right around 5 there somewhere. So we want the distance. Let's see what I got here. Piece of molding in my garage, a little dirty, a little scrap piece of molding. So I went off a little bit here. So it's over here. Kind of like that. And then we take this and we draw a line between the two. Okay, so we have a line between both of those, and we want the midpoint. So if I was like, if the camera was 10 feet away and I was 2 feet, what's the middle between the two? Well, it's 6, because we're gonna add 10 plus 2, and then we're gonna divide by 2. So if I'm at 2 feet and you guys are at 10 feet, it's at 6 feet that we're halfway, or the midpoint in between the two. So we're going to do that for both points. So that's where the formula comes from. So the midpoint is going to be, take this x 1/2 and this y, this x plus 2/3, and we're going to divide that by 2. That gives me my new x value. And then, too many colors here. And then my y values are going to be a little different. We're going to have the first y value is 2√3, and we're going to add that to -4√2. And we're going to divide all of that by 2. So the setup's pretty straightforward. We're going to find out how far it is from here to here. That's this right here. And then we're going to divide it by 2 and find the midpoint. Then we're going to find out how far it is from here to here. And then we're going to divide it by 2 and find the midpoint. And then those 2 midpoints are going to end up giving us the midpoint of the graph right here. So let's do a little bit of math here. 3 times 1 is 3. 2 times 2 is 4. 2 times 3 is 6. That's all divided by 2. And let's do the next one. We are going to add those two. 2 plus, oh, they're different, so we can't do anything with it, so we just got to leave it just like that. So we get 2 plus √3 minus 4√2 all over 2 again. Okay, so let's clean this up here. Don't forget, you're dividing by 2 over 1. So this is going to flip over and multiply. So we're going to multiply by the reciprocal. That's going to get rid of this. 3 plus 1 is 7 times 1. 6 times 2. And then we can simplify this out a little bit, which is going to give us 2 goes into both of those. This goes in once, so I get root 3. 2 goes into 4 twice. And I have my new midpoint, which is going to be right here. So that's my new midpoint. So the midpoint between those two is right about there. Okay? So it's literally the midpoint of the x's and the midpoint of the y's. Midpoint of the x's, midpoint of the y's. All right, so that's our midpoint formula. Let me grab a paper towel. Now we're going to do the distance. So we have, oops, keep knocking this off, it's a little small in my garage. We have a triangle. If you really look at it, this point is that point there, and this point is that point there. We have an x, which is 1/2, and then we have another one, which is 2/3. And then we can look at it this way. We have a y, which is 2 root 3, and we have another y, which is -4 root 2. Now, we can label this A, B, and C. Well, the idea here is I need to find this side. It's a triangle, it's a right triangle. So we end up with a squared plus b squared equals c squared. Well, let's find a squared. A is this one. How do I find the distance between two objects? 2 root 3 minus -4 root 2, square it, plus 1/2 minus 2/3, square it, equals c squared. Okay, so we're subtracting this to get the length of B, subtracting this to get the length of A, and then we'll work from there. So can't do anything with this, so we're going to get 2 root 3 plus 4 root 2 squared. All I did was negative times a negative. And then we're going to add. This is going to be 3. This is going to be minus 4. 3 times 1. This is going to be 2 times 3, which is 6. So now, and this will be squared, so we get c squared. So let's do the math here. You can do the box method if you choose. Don't forget, you can do the box method and put 2 root 3 here. You can put 4, oops, make it a little bit bigger for you guys. Do it down here. You can do 2 root 3 and 4 root 2, and then 2 root 3 and 4 root 2. And then you can multiply and combine your like terms. I'm going to do it this way. I'm going to square the front one, so I'm going to get 4 times 3. So if you need to do the box method, I'm going to multiply these two together. I'm going to get 8 root 6. So I'm going to get 16 root 6. And then I'm going to square the last, which is 16, so that's 32. I'm going to add that to 3 minus 1 is -1. Square it gives me 1, and square that, so I'm going to get 1 over 36. So let's clean this up. 4 times 3 is 12. 12 plus 32 is 44 plus 16 root 6 plus 136 equals c squared. Now, as I work on this and I get closer and closer, I can just, how do I get rid of the square root? I'm going to take the square root of both sides. That should be up here. I'm going to take the square root of both sides, and I'm going to leave it in this form, and the distance is, and I don't have my calculator here, equals c. So if you took this, plug it into the calculator, and then take the square root of it, it's going to give you the exact distance. So just a reminder, you can box method this if you need to when you're working with square roots. Only combine like terms, your fractions, don't forget your shortcuts that we talked about.